To give you a little bit of context, I've been meaning to make a video about how much space dinosaurs need, how to calculate it, and also a video about the most space-effective dinosaurs, which is surprisingly an in-depth topic because you can tackle it both ways. You can have dinosaurs that require very little space, of course, but you can also have dinosaurs that they need a little bit more space, but they have such a high appeal rating that you pretty much need to buy less dinosaurs overall, so they are space effective that way. Well, besides that video, I also wanted to make one regarding just talking about how to calculate even how much space a dinosaur needs, but I have found something that might be of interest to you, especially if you are trying to fit into your space. So let me ask you a question. Well, before I ask the question, I want to show you something. The only way I came up with to measure how much space a dinosaur needs is when you place fences. This is the maximum I can place, right? This like length, and I can create 90-degree angles, and let's say this is 1 square. Okay, as you can see, I have multiple squares here with some mystery dinosaurs I don't want to reveal until the space video, but let's call this like one space of unit. You have probably came across the area need and area need growth variables in the hatchery, and by the way, area need low, this is different for every single dinosaur. So just because the Compsognathus is low and the Crichtonsaurus is low, they require different amounts of space. Unfortunately, it's not communicated in the game, but if we go into a website such as paleogg.com, I'm not sure how or why, but they have pretty much the exact amounts of area needs in square meters that the dinosaurs need. I'm pretty sure it's not square meters because this seems like a lot. It's much less in the game, I think. But for instance, this Styracosaurus needs whatever, like 1900 plus 1900 plus 200 square meters altogether area in the game, right? Or the Quetzalcoatlus needs whatever, like 7000 total area needs. Let's say the Compsognathus, as an example, requires 1 square of area. By the way, in the game it's 1.5 squares or around that, but let's just say one Compsognathus requires 1 square of area. Let me ask you this: since the area need growth is 20%, how much more space do we need if we added a second Compsognathus to the same exhibit? Well, if you've answered 20% more, so whatever, like 1 square and a little bit more, you are wrong. Kinda. The area need growth, if you look it up on Google and you find, like, I don't know, Reddit articles, some people say this is how much extra space you need if you add another of the same species. Others say it's different species. Unfortunately, the game doesn't communicate it, but I don't really blame the developers, because there might be a different area need growth for the same species, for different species that is liked, for a different species that is, I don't know, neutral, and then a different species that is hated. So how the hell are you going to communicate that? I don't know anything about that. But what I do know, and I've tested this on like 3 or 4 different dinosaurs, and it could be buggy on some of the in-game dinosaurs, I'm not sure. But what's really incredible is that if one Compsognathus requires 1 square space, let's say this exact square that we've created, we can add multiple Compsognathuses into the same space, with the dinosaur comfort, of course, being 100%, until we reach, if you click up here, the minimum population, or up to the minimum population of 8. So if one Compsognathus requires 1 square space, you can actually fit 8 Compsognathuses into the same 1 square. Again, it's not 1 square, it's like, however this much is, like 1 square plus like more than half I actually have 8 Compsognathuses in here, believe it or not. And it's very important, we have exactly 8 of them. If I were to place a 9th Compsognathus, look, we are exactly at the like area and whatever, sand, a little bit more. If we were to place a 9th Compsognathus, it would not be enough anymore. I don't know by how much. I cannot test this, and I'm really sorry for making a video without knowing. It's really difficult to test, but what probably adds, or how much space you need at the 9th Compsognathus is probably the area need growth, so 20% more. At the 10th, 11th, 12th Compsognathus, I'm pretty sure you will need like, again, 20% more, 20% more, 20% more. But it's really difficult to test, and I haven't tested this yet. But what we've already talked about is really, really cool, I think, because what this means, Compsognathus is a really extreme example because the minimum population is that it requires is 8. But something like a Crichtonsaurus, for instance, you need 3 of them, and you're probably gonna buy 3 of them anyways, because if you have less than 3, they're just gonna be uncomfortable and break out of their exhibits, right? But the Crichtonsaurus has a really high area need, I should say a relatively high area need growth at 80%. What we've learned in this video is that, first of all, however much space this needs, probably like 2 squares or whatever, you can fit 3 Crichtonsauruses in the same 2 squares. But you really shouldn't add a 4th Crichtonsaurus, because you pretty much will have to double your exhibit size, which is crazy. There are really extreme examples as well. I will talk about this in a different video. I didn't want to talk about it here, but look at the Mosasaurus. It's a 200% area need growth and a minimum population of 1. This means that if you must have 2 or even 3 Mosasauruses, make sure to place them in completely different exhibits, even if the lagoons are like right next to each other. But once the lagoons touch, you pretty much need 3 times the amount of space for just 2 Mosasauruses, which is really not worth it. But yeah, so the Crichtonsaurus and the Mosasaurus are extreme examples, but on the other end of the spectrum you have stuff like Archeor. I'm not gonna pronounce that. We have other stuff like the Gallimimus. Again, you can fit 6 Gallimimuses in the same space, however many squares that is. But because the Gallimimus has a really low area need growth, it doesn't really matter if you add like 7 or 8 or whatever, because it has a relatively low area need growth, so it doesn't really matter. If you found this video useful or at least fun, like and subscribe for more, and also stick around for the video about the dinosaurs that don't require much space or are really space effective. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Two Siders, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.